that it's not that God is putting us in these hard situations because God doesn't love us or that the universe isn't listening to us. But we have to be open to what the universe and God wants us to do. Last night, my daughter played her first lacrosse game ever, and she was goalie. And she had never been goalie before, never done this before in an actual game. She was goalie, and she missed every goal that was hit her way. She let the other team score 4 points. At the end of the game, you can imagine that she was absolutely beside herself. She was sobbing, and she was so sad, still crying in the car. And I finally said, yes, you missed those goals, but think about what you did for those other girls that made those goals. Think about the hope, think about the excitement, think about the belief in themselves that you just instilled in each of those girls that scored a goal. Yes, you may have missed 4 goals, but think about what that did, scoring a goal, did to those other little girls. Or not little, she would hate if I said little. Who knows what scoring a goal could do for a girl at her age? Maybe it inspires them to work harder at lacrosse practice. Or maybe they've been feeling really sad and down, and it gives them something to look forward to. Or maybe it helped them make friends because now their team is super excited about the work that they're doing. Whatever it is, it was meant to be. And I know that at the time my daughter didn't enjoy hearing that point of view, but simply changing the angle like that and saying, okay, my life really sucks right now, but how are other people benefiting from this? And I'm not talking about the government or politics. I'm talking about teachers. I'm talking about doctors. Are you helping a doctor learn more empathy? If you're in therapy, are you helping your therapist, challenging them to learn about new techniques and practices? How is your hard time benefiting someone else? By looking at it from this angle, we can understand that we are actually helping others learn. And maybe that's our purpose right now. Maybe our purpose isn't to go, balls to the wall and just, run through these hot coals. Maybe our purpose is to stand on those coals so others can learn around us about how we're standing on the coals. I think about this with sickness and illness, and as I've mentioned before, we lost our daughter at birth about 5.5 years ago. And I think about the fact that while she sadly passed, what she taught the nurses that surrounded me and the doctors that were there, and what an impact her life made on that staff. After she passed, we actually ran into a chaplain that had been with us for a little bit a couple months later. And the chaplain, we had ended up leaving the day that she passed. We didn't stay. I didn't stay. And the chaplain said, the nurses were looking for you. The nurses wanted to connect with you again, that people were still talking about you. And to me, that says that even though the tragedy of my daughter's death, is absolutely horrible, it was teaching other people around, so much so that even after we left the hospital, people were still talking about it. And that says something to me. That says that my daughter that passed life meant something more, and it did touch other people. So if you have a loved one that's really sick, think about the empathy that doctors and nurses and other people are learning from it. Think about your own empathy and what you're learning. It's a wonderful way to kind of pull yourself out of feeling quote unquote stuck. And by changing your point of view, perhaps you can either be okay with being where you are for a while or understand how you can move forward. All I can say about risk in my own personal experience is I've never regretted a risk that I have taken. I only regret the risks that I didn't take. And for the record, I take a lot of risks, and I rarely don't do something that I feel really inclined to do because I never want to wonder what if. If you're on the fence about doing something, ask for a sign. If you are curious about a reading, I'm here. Ask me anything. I made a pledge at the beginning of starting this website to be completely open with you and be completely vulnerable. And that means being honest when I'm having a hard day as a mom, or what I'm feeding my children, or the fact that I'm nervous too about taking this risk. But I have to trust that the universe wouldn't be leading me there if it wasn't pushing me towards something else. And as scary as that risk is, I would rather go for it instead of wondering, why didn't I just do that? Why was I so scared? What are you so scared of doing right now? What risk are you backing away from? Have you asked the universe for a sign? Think about these things. As always, you can reach me on Facebook at facebook.com/one question at a time. My website is one-question.net. Instagram at the number 1 question at a time. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of The Normal Intuitive, and I will talk to everyone soon. Bye-bye.